Yo, what's the deal, man? It's your player partner, Bobby WAJ. Um, thank everybody. I just want to show my appreciation and my gratitude for those of you who have been rocking with my channel and just been thugging it out with me, man. Your continued support is much appreciated. I am going to give enough time for YouTube to do what it does and put me in an algorithm so that y'all can know that I'm live, get this content and chime in if you can. You feel what I'm saying? Today I want to change gears. I want to change gears today. And I want to get into something that's a little bit more realistic for some. Not everybody, but for some. Hold on. Let me try to get this cracking over here. I don't know why it ain't working. Let me see. Boom, and let me copy that. And let me move the cursor and all this and all that, but I don't know. But it's all good. One monkey don't stop no show. But getting back to what I was saying, man. Trillionaire, what's the dinner there? What up, bro? Man, super cool on like a deep freezer, man. Straight to the point TV. Shout out to you. I'm in a house. You in a house, most definitely. Today's content is going to be eccentric. It's going to break any known pattern from any past content that I have created. And the title is "Could we be ignoring the inception of the new heaven and the new earth?" And I'm not necessarily coming at this from a religious standpoint. It's just we're always the people who are blindsided by events as they unfold. You feel what I'm saying? The reason why man has not obtained the ability to transcend into a God state, right, is because they don't have carbon in the melanin. The reason why they try to subjugate us and suppress us is because part of our DNA is DNA that they don't understand, that they can't conquer and they can't manipulate. And that's what they refer to as the alien DNA, the junk DNA, or the God DNA. That connection that allows us to connect with this life experience on a whole different level than any other ethnicity, any other race or group of people. In order for us to transcend into a state of what they call being godlike, they have to allow melanated carbonated people to exist in their full capacity, but they don't. And the reason why they don't allow us to exist in our full capacity and tap into that God strain in our DNA is because they fear retribution. They fear being inadequate. They fear us being in a position of superiority and subjugating them to our rule. Like this is real. This ain't me coming on some fictitious bullshit. This ain't science fiction. This is the actuality of reality that they keep coded in the matrix so that we can't really understand and process what's really going on. In the Bible, it says that the prophet, I believe John, looked up and beheld something that had the appearance, or he beheld a new heaven and a new earth. The new heaven and the new earth that they're trying to establish is already playing out before our eyes with the type 1 civilization. They have already had meetings with world-renowned scientists, with the governments of the world. They have all came together and say, hey, listen, we have put ourselves in a position to where we can master all of elements here on earth. We have put ourselves in a position to we have mastered nuclear and nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. We have mastered this. We are ready to go into a type 1 civilization, but the population is too massive. We wouldn't be able to control everybody. We wouldn't have enough resources to sustain the life population or the population of this current world. So what we have to do a cleanse. This is real business. This ain't nothing fabricated. This ain't me concocting something in the back of my mind and coming on here and just shooting this at you. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of things that we're starting to see more and more that's becoming more prevalent is transhumanism. What is transhumanism? Transhumanism is when you take what they call artificial intelligence and integrate it with the typical human body, to where we have cells. We were genetically created with cells, molecules, so on and so forth, right? This is the organic matter that whatever intelligent source of life that did create us gave to us so that we can function the way that we function, process information that we process and obtain DNA codes from the sun. See, they don't tell y'all that the sun gives us DNA codes, and these DNA codes goes into our body and it's downloaded and it does what it's supposed to do, because these DNA codes is codes of evolution. But forgive me, bear with me, because I have never came on here and talked about this type of topic in the way that I plan on talking about it today. A lot of people will be lost. A lot of people will think that it's science fiction, but this is the actuality, reality. This is happening right now. They have humans, or they have humanoids, things that appear to be human, things that are made in a likeness of humans, and they don't have the typical cells and the molecules that you and I have. They have nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is these subparticles that men have created that can replace your cells. This is the truth. They are integrating the metaverse, because now it's the metaverse. Did you know that they were trying to pass a law? They went to Washington, D.C., baby, and they said, listen, we need to pass a law that if anybody unalives an avatar inside of the metaverse, that they can be criminally prosecuted. This is something that was in Washington, D.C. that they keep on a hush-hush. But why would you criminally prosecute a person for unaliving somebody in the metaverse? Why? Can we get into it? Are you ready to have a conversation that goes beyond the ordinary of this genre of this genre of YouTube creators that come from the streets? See, this is the thing, homie, and this is what a lot of people overlook, ignore, or just unconscious to. In the Bible, Lucifer said, I will ascend into heaven and I will exalt myself above the throne of God. That's what Lucifer said. Another part of the Bible, when Lucifer was testing Yahshua, he say, one of the tests that he gave me, say, listen, man, he took him to the highest place on earth. And he said, listen, homie, check me out. Prostrate or prone out, bow before me and praise me, and I shall reward you with every kingdom on earth, for they are mine to give. A lot of people be having these concepts and having these conversations about hell and where is hell, and hell is the place that Lucifer has dominion over. Lucifer has dominion on earth. And when you read that passage in the Bible where he tells what they call Jesus to bow down before me and praise me, and I should give you every kingdom on earth, for they are mine to give, that shows that Lucifer has dominion over this realm of existence, and we are already in hell. This is hell. See, a lot of people confuse hell with the lake of fire. It says that hell, Hades, and death should be cast into the lake of fire, where to be internal condemnation, or to be internal burning, and it should be weeping and a gnashing of teeth. That's what a lot of people associate hell with, a place where it's burning and it's misery and it's constant torment and so on and so forth. No, that's the lake of fire that hell is going to be allegedly cast into. We already existing in hell. This is hell. This realm of existence that we call earth, that we call whatever you call it, the United States of America, Afghanistan, whatever you call it, whatever region you tapping in from. This is hell. Lucifer already has dominion over this, and Lucifer has been putting himself in position and his followers in position to create a new heaven and a new earth and create transhumanism, to where they're going to integrate the two. Now, getting back to my question, why would they criminally prosecute individuals for unaliving avatars inside of the metaverse? Because the metaverse is the AI representation, or the AI version of the universe that the Most High God created. If we are made, including Lucifer, if we are made in the image of God, do you not know that we possess certain godly attributes that we can create and we can destroy? It's not man putting himself in position to where he can manipulate the elements. It's not man putting himself in position to do things that originally we only attributed to God and associated with God. Can man not create the weather? Can man not manipulate the weather? This is a known fact now. Can man not create earthquakes, hurricanes, droughts, intense heat? Can man not clone and create life in a fashion that we thought only God was capable of doing? There's a passage in the Bible where Yahweh and his assistants are, I don't want to say assistants, because the concept of God that they taught us in the Bible, man, that doesn't even scratch the surface. So when I come on here and I talk about God, my perception of God may differ from yours, right? But there's a passage in the Bible, I believe it's in Genesis, where the Most High came and was down here with man, and man was aspiring to create. They called it the Tower of Babel, but if you do your research, the Tower of Babel was actually a rocket ship or some type of spacecraft that they was going to use to go into the heavens and explore space, right? And Yahweh said, "Hold on, you see what they doing?" And I'm putting it in I'm not giving it to you verbatim. I'm paraphrasing so you can better understand it and digest it, right? He said, "Hold on, you see what they doing? Man, these niggas creating a rocket ship. No, 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 no. We gonna confuse their language so that when they aspire to do things, they won't be able to understand each other. And if we don't do this, anything that they put their mind to, they'll be able to obtain." And that's what we're going through right now. AI is going to be the main catalyst and be the main reason why the population drastically decreased. They putting it in movies. They put in a movie, X-Men, Day of Future Past or something like that. When that entity had woken up and he was going to destroy Earth. Marvel is known to do it. They're notorious for it. They did it in a movie with Thanos when Thanos was going to destroy most of the universe. And we can do some content about that because they put it in the form of movie so that we don't really believe that this is the actuality of what's going on. But to answer my own question, I'm going to share with you and show you why they were going to Washington, D.C. and trying to pass laws that prohibit and prosecuted individuals that unalive avatars inside of the metaverse. The metaverse is something that we're all going to have to face in some capacity or another. This AI shit is real. Once AI comes and does what they intend for AI to do, then they're going to create, well, they're not going to create it, they already have it. It's IA. So AI come and AI assumes control of the world governments, technology, and it destroyed the world or our major population, a large percentage of the world. This is what AI is designed and created to do, to come and create havoc, to come and destroy, to come and reduce the world population. But once AI do that, then AI is put in a position of being God, because this AI that they're creating in the movie Mission Impossible, the latest Mission Impossible, AI that they called the entity was like God. It controlled everything. You couldn't outsmart it, you couldn't outthink it. So how do you control AI once they release AI and AI goes out and kill, destroy, conquer, and it puts it in it's ultimately in a position of God? How do you reverse that? By incorporating IA. And that's transhumanism, to where they incorporate the human body with the same elements of these computers, these computer systems, and these computer programs. They put it in the form of a person. And the first thing that some of the first things that the public has been introduced to about transhumanism and humans having the same ability as AI is when what's the guy name from out of South Africa? You know what I'm talking about. Him and Trump beefing right now. Motherfucking god damn, man, the richest motherfucker in the world, man. Not Jeff Bezos, but motherfucking Elon Musk. Elon Musk has created a computerized chip. Is way smaller than this, right? But he has created a computerized chip that they can implant in your brain, and it's essentially like having a cell phone in your brain. So what you would be able to do, you know how they say that we have more than six senses, five senses, six senses, however many senses: see, taste, smell, hear, feel. We have more than just five senses. They say we have seven senses. And of those seven senses, one of those senses is being able to communicate without words. I think it's called, what is it called? What is, yeah, help me. Hold on. Gina Mercedes. Come on. You want to come on? Gina Mercedes, you saying that I'm lying. You want to come on and you want to have an intellectual conversation with me? Because there's no need for me to lie. But what there is a need for me to do is to share the information to try to educate the people so that we can get ready for what's really coming. War, destruction, famine, plagues, all this is coming. All this is coming, but it is created to create chaos. It is created to reduce the world population. But a lot of people don't like having these conversations because it puts you in a position of being vulnerable. It's nothing that you can do to control it. But it is something that you can do to control it, and we're going to explore that in later content. But Gina Mercedes, if you feel like I'm lying and I'm being deceitful, come on here. Let's have an intellectual conversation, because anything that I come on here and say, telepathy, trillionaire, I appreciate that. I'm getting off Gino Mercedes. I'm getting off that, and I'm getting back to this, right? So telepathy is the ability to communicate without words, and you just seeing thoughts, and the person receives the thoughts. So if I have this computerized chip in my brain and you have that computerized chip in your brain, we don't need to exchange words to communicate. All we do is send messages in the form of a text message. Like if you got a cell phone and somebody else in the next room and you want to say, hey, what are we going to eat for dinner tonight? You don't got to speak that. You can send that text. But through these computerized chips, which is called the neurochips that Elon Musk has created, you can just think a thing, and that thing can be sent to another person who has that computerized chip. Parents, just get your kids a private school education. See, you want to be funny. And it's always the Hispanic individuals that want to come on here and, bring negativity and toxicity and all that, but it's all good. But because we already know that you guys are subservient and that you guys are under the programming of the Europeans, the Caucasians. So I wouldn't even expect for you to understand where I'm coming from, because it doesn't even vibrate with your frequency. See, a lot of you non-melanated, non-carbonated people, y'all ain't gonna even be able to live in this type 1 civilization. When this sun, as it is now, continues to get hotter and hotter as it grows and gets ready to become what is it called, a white star? Is that what it is? When the sun hits its last stage and it expands, and after it expands for a couple of million years or whatnot, it becomes a black hole because it collapsed. There's no place for y'all. I don't care if you're Italian. I don't care if you're Hispanic. I don't care what you are. There's no real legitimate place for your type, for your race, for your ethnicity in the future. The sun is getting too hot. Y'all don't have melanin. Y'all don't have carbon. Why you think that they're abducting black individuals and they extracting melanin from them? Why you think melanin costs more than gold, platinum, and all these other natural resources? Because they're trying to shoot it into themselves so that they can be able to withstand the growing sun. It's getting hotter. The sun is getting bigger. When I was a kid, homie, you look at the sun and that motherfucker was yellow. It was yellow. Now you look at this sun, some days it's orange, some days it look white. That's because this ain't the same sun that we were living with 20, 30 years ago. The sun is getting incrementally bigger or gradually closer to Earth in either way. If you don't have melanin or you don't have carbon within you, oh no, you ain't gonna even be able to exist, partner. So you can come on here and you can talk all this bullshit, but it ain't no motherfucking place for your people in the future. It's none of y'all in the motherfucking future. So come on and play games. Let's play games, motherfucker. You want to play games? I'm not going to play games with you, partner. I'm going to give you scientific facts that's created by Europeans like yourself that understand that what's inside of the carbonated, melanated individuals on this earth is something that's close to God. You can't say the same thing about y'all. Why you think we have godly attributes even to this day? Being able to extend mercy to other individuals, being welcoming, being able to administer healing, assistance, and so on and so forth, and all these other godly attributes that we have to other humans, to other humans. Because if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, the closest thing to God in this realm of existence is those who possess melanin, and carbon. We wasn't created on this planet, homie, and I can give you scientific proof that shows that Us, we was created somewhere else because the things that compose us, the things that we are made up of, are our genetic composition. We have things in our body that's not on this earth. You can't find it on this earth. And the only place that they're finding and coming into contact with it, and coming into contact with it, is out of space. But that's a whole nother conversation. This dude then kind of like got me off track on so on and so forth. But getting back to what I was saying, why would they want to prosecute individuals for unaliving avatars in the metaverse? Let's get into it without further ado. So, Gino the Italian, you coming on here and you talking and all this, the Italians was conquered by blacks. Why you think that when the Europeans were, going through this phase to whether if you're not white, you're not right? Why you think the Italians was rejected? Why you think when the Italians came to America, the American born, bred, and raised white folks, they rejected y'all. They didn't want to fuck with y'all. But as the black population began to grow, as the Hispanic population began to grow, that's when they started accepting y'all as being white. They didn't want to fuck with no motherfucking Italians. And no disrespect to my Italian peoples, homie, but we got to stop putting these filters on our mouths out. We have to stop putting these filters on our mouths as a means to not offend those who can benefit the most from the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. This doesn't mean that I'm racist against Italians. This is actual proof. This is why the original gangs was created in the 16 to 1700s on the East Coast. Because when the Italians came over here, when the Jews came over here, when the Polish came over here, it wasn't no resources for them. The American-born, raised, and bred white folks, they rejected them. Specifically the Italians and the Irish. Why did they reject the Italians and the Irish? Because they had black blood in them. When you go to the south of Italy, when you go and you deal with the Sicilians, you can still see that they have what they call olive skin, a dark complexion to them. So let's not play games, homie. So if you're going to play games, man, go in the corner, put your hand behind you and play with your asshole, but don't come on here and play with me. But without further ado, man, let's get into this content. The Italians weren't even accepted by white folks because y'all was conquered by motherfucking Hannibal. And when he conquered y'all, he didn't introduce y'all to a servitude of harsh treatment, severe discrimination. They didn't do that. They just came, they conquered, they colonized, they educated and empowered, and they got up out of there. They didn't do to the Italians, the Irish, and the other European countries and so on and so forth. They didn't do to them what the Europeans did to us with this malicious form of slavery, indentured servants. They went, they conquered, and what they did, they educated and they empowered, and they got the fuck up out of there. The Italians love blacks. Their women love blacks. It was a point of time in Italy's history that the women did not want to procreate with the Italian man. They wanted to have sex with these Africans. This is the truth, homie. If you don't believe me, do your own research. Gino Mercedes, where you at? You ain't gonna rebuttal, you ain't gonna retort, you ain't gonna say nothing. You cool now? I done put you in check, I done put you in your place. You cool now? Now you see you ain't fucking with a typical nigga. Stop playing with me, man. Go in the corner, southeast corner of your home. Take this finger, put it behind you, and shove it up your ass. So don't play with me, man. But let's get back to the content. Here we go, right here.
Here, and today we actually have something really interesting. We're talking about the metaverse, and if you didn't know, killing someone in the metaverse could actually be considered a crime. Here's what's going on. This is absolutely fascinating. This is coming from the Sun's US edition. And for the record, before I actually dive into this one, I just want to say the last time I did basically a video and podcast on the metaverse talking about a groping problem, it was kind of amazing. I oftentimes get a lot of hate messages, all that, Nick, you're an idiot kind of things. The internet really is where civility goes to die.
Mm.
And I think this one is going to be one of those. But hear me out here, because this is just interesting. And I think what we are looking at.
I want to speak on that just real quick. The internet is where civility goes to die. This is the truth. You see this European guy who lacks melanin, lacks carbon, who's not going to be able to withstand the genetic codes that we're going to be receiving to the sun to evolve to something different from what we are now. We're going to evolve. What we are now, we about to evolve into something different, and that's why they're trying to stop that, because they know what we are soon to evolve to is something that they can't control, they can't contain it, they can't conquer it. The internet is where civility goes to die. Civility is a form of kindness, being benevolent. Individuals come on the internet, man, and they develop these killer fingers, these unaliving fingers, and they pop, 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 and you'll think they John Gotti. You'll think they Adolf Hitler. You'll think they Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? You would think they Monster Cody or Tookie, you know what I mean? Something like that, man. The internet is where civility that goes and die. People feel like they can come on here and they can be rude, they can be disrespectful, they can say what they want to say, so on and so forth. But let's get back into the content. I just wanted to piggyback off what this dude said.
Is the potential to generate new laws both here in the United States and elsewhere. And so I think this is fascinating. We should be paying attention to these things, whether you think this is stupid or not. Don't shoot the messenger here. Listen to this, and it would be, I think, just a fascinating debate. So here's what's going on. And again, I'm quoting the Sun almost verbatim on this because they talk to a lot of experts. So I am actually quoting a lot of legal experts here. But this is what's up. Murder in the metaverse basically isn't going to be something like a 25 to life prison sentence or even a felony, but it could be a crime according to the experts that the Sun interviewed. Now, they spoke to 2 lawyers who have written previously about crime in the metaverse, and also a former Manhattan prosecutor turned law professor about violence in virtual worlds to see if they can actually be prosecuted. Now,
pause. When they're talking about violence in virtual worlds, the reason why they want to push this issue because this virtual world is going to be integrated with this world that we call life. Transhumanism. You can research this, man. Do your research. You know what I mean? Don't just take what I'm saying. Get out there and do your research. They're trying to integrate the metaverse with the actual physical thing experience that we call life. And I'm gonna give you another example of why they're trying to, or why they're moving to prosecute individuals who unalive. And you can see the difference in the genres and the algorithms, right? In our genre, in our algorithm, those who are street content creators, we can't say the K word. We got to say unalive. We can't mention the M word. We got to say unalive. But this Caucasian man, he can freely say the K word and the M word. But if we said, they striking our page and they sending us notifications and we're being penalized, so on and so forth. But let's get back into the content.
2 of these 3 experts said that violent crimes like murder, rape, or assault in the metaverse.
Whoa. For my fellow content creators, we can't even say the R word. If we mention the R word, homie, our page get penalized. So we say words like grape. I don't really like to say grape because I don't want the brothers from Grape Street to think that I'm making a mockery of their game. But when somebody does an actual, put an S in front of it, offense, and we call it and we refer to it as the R word, we can't even say the R word. We got to say grape. Or we got to dance around it, homie. But they can freely come on here and talk as freely as they want to because they are still in possession of their what? Their constitutional rights, the freedom of speech, the freedom of press. We should be covered under the freedom of speech and the freedom of press. But they want to censor. It's intense and severe censorship when it comes to us. But other individuals can freely talk as they choose to. But let's get back into the content. We going somewhere, baby.
And arguably be speech-related charges such as menacing, harassment, or stalking, all of which are crimes in the real world. Now, it boils down basically to the wording of the laws as they are currently written. Now, they're basically written to protect, and I quote, real living people. That is according to John Bandler, who teaches cybersecurity and cyber crime at New York's Elizabeth House School of Law at Pace University. Now, this law isn't meant to protect avatars or software codes which populate the metaverse. And Mr. Bandler said, and I quote, I would view it more like speech or expression, less as a physical act against a person. Then we can analyze whether that speech or expression is permissible, protected, or not. Now, that particular argument feeds into a larger societal First Amendment debate about what speech actually is and what can be basically protected. And so what...
Now watch this. It's not a contradiction. It's not a contradiction. I'm going somewhere. You gotta understand, they always water it down and hit you with the flea flicker, just like I just did some content a few days ago where I had showed the contradiction and how they use certain verbiage to be a flea flicker. Now watch this. You heard what this brother then said about what he just said, and I want to share something with you. I want to show you why they want to prosecute crime in the metaverse. Let me come right here and let me share it with you. Here we go right here. Hold on. Right here. We're going to go right here. And I'm about to show you something. Let me see where it's at. This is all my arrange and categorize things that I go to make certain content and whatnot. So what we're going to be going into right now, hold on. Hold on 1 minute. Let me do this. Give me a minute. Bear with your player partner. I had already had it queued up, but for some odd reason, it jumped to something else. All right, we're going to go right here. Boom. Boom, here we go right here. Watch this. Here we go right here. Now it's about to really make sense, Kim, folks. Right here, watch this.
Consciousness by growing brains in a jar and connecting them to a computer made from stem cells that were stimulated in a special way.
Hold on, how do I pause this? Made from stem cells. The stem cells that they're extracting out of humans and trying to replicate and duplicate is stem cells that comes from Black individuals. We are the minority in America, but yet we are the most kidnapped. We are the most criminally prosecuted. We are the most infected with HIVs, herpes, STDs, and all these other things. You feel what I'm saying? I don't want to get too far off a subject, but every time there's a place that's created as an enclave for Blacks and you can go and be successful and start working on your self-sufficiency and so on and so forth, what they do, they infected with a high population of AIDS. Atlanta, Georgia used to be the Mecca. They say the Mecca for Black folks. What they do, they infected it with AIDS. Houston, Texas, the same thing. What they do, they infected it with AIDS. Now North Carolina is a state that Black peoples can go to and pull themselves up out of bootstraps like that expeditiously. And what's going on now? They're experiencing a high percentage of new cases of HIV and AIDS. This shit is real, man. But let's get back into the content. I apologize. I just wanted to speak to that just real quick, man. But here we go.
Which grew and eventually formed structures and even brainwave activities similar to that of a premature human baby. They then hooked up this brain into a computer, connecting it into a virtual world where it learned to...
Transhumanism. These individuals are using stem cells. Back in 2004, 2005, it was a big debate over stem cells and the ability of stem cells to be neutral cells that can become brain cells, different type of cells. But they were basically the foundation that they needed. They needed stem cells in order to clone actual humans. They was going through this in 2004, 2005. They were saying, no, it's immoral, and leave stem cells alone, and don't do this and don't do that. And then the disappearance, the missing person, more people of color around this time began to go missing because they was extracting the stem cells from black people, because the stem cells are electrically charged to a point to where other ethnicities and other races, their stem cells don't compare. But let's get back into it. So when they talk about this, homie, this is stem cells that comes from melanated, carbonated individuals, homie.
Play Pong completely from scratch. I want you to realize what this means. Like, this isn't a computer bot that was pre-programmed to know exactly how to play the game. That's easy. It's an organic brain that they grew themselves, that was given Pong with no instructions, and it just taught itself how to play, which is honestly nothing new. That's just AI. But this is organic AI, which happens to learn quicker and is also more energy efficient than traditional AI. It learned to play Pong in about 10 to 15 rallies, when a regular computer AI would take around 5,000. Albeit the computer AI can simulate those 5,000 rallies much quicker, but that takes a lot more computing power, which is sort of our main bottleneck with AI at the moment. Energy. This is organoid intelligence. Take human brain cells, grow them in a petri dish, and then use computers to train them just like AI. Naturally, there are ethical concerns rising up. There is surmounting evidence showing us that these are conscious, like a human. Even the scientists working on it themselves admit these organoids are sentient. They took it a step further and tested out these organoid brains inside real physical robots, feeding them the sensory input of everything the robot experiences. And since the computer chip running it is organic brain matter, this technically, by definition, is a cyborg. Then there are companies like Final Spark that let you rent server space on these organoid brains, which essentially act like organic CPUs. You can even see live streams of the brain computers you're renting out. And now this next part right here, what they're doing here might actually prove simulation theory. So they have this virtual butterfly simulation that's controlled by the organoid brains, meaning the brains feel and experience everything the butterflies do. Again, the brains weren't trained or programmed how to be a butterfly. Just like they did with Pong, they were just fed the sensory feelings of being butterflies and kind of figured out themselves how to flap their wings and just exist. Much the same way you weren't pre-programmed to walk or talk. You experienced sensory inputs in the forms of sight, sounds, touch, and learned, taught yourself along the way. This is an organic brain being fed computer data to make it believe it actually exists in a simulated world, and it's also likely sentient. This company essentially just created the Matrix for butterflies, and its consciousness is available for you to rent out. And when no one's using it, it still just continues to exist with no human interaction whatsoever. If the brains really are conscious, as the scientists suggest, they're not going to know they're this organoid computer brain in a lab hooked up to a virtual simulation. They're going to believe that they really are that butterfly. If that's the case, what's stopping all of us from being our own organoid brains in some lab?
What's stopping us from being our own organoid brain in a laboratory somewhere? This is a possibility, because we know that we have spirits, we know that we have souls that has been put into us, but how we know those spirits and souls aren't a part of a simulation or a program that's beyond our consciousness or our ability to understand? It's a replication. It's a replication of what was. Let's get to the content, cuz.
Different dimension. Meaning this, everything we see and experience right now is our own simulation that we've been plugged into, except we're not butterflies, we're humans. And everything we do, every decision we make is not by our own free will, but by some, I don't know, fifth dimensional entity renting server space in our brains, just the same way this Final Spark neural platform lets us do. And when we sleep, maybe our idle brain computational power is used for other purposes, which we experience as dreams. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. You gotta sleep tonight. Are we really brain organoids existing in our own petri dishes, connected to and experiencing a fully virtual simulated world? Because we just pulled it off. And according to simulation theory, if we're capable of creating virtual simulated realities, then chances are we're already living in one. Scientists might have just
Thoughts. And that's why I pose a question. Is this experience called life a simulation? Think about this shit. Process this shit, cuz. In the mind, in the way that the mind perceive things, make certain things real. You ain't never filled off no motherfucking 10-story building before, have you? Hell no, because you would no longer physically exist in this realm of existence, right? But we all, I'm pretty sure we all done had dreams of where we were falling, and you feel that shit in the pit of your stomach. It feel like what the airplane go through when that motherfucker be going through turbulence. The mind makes it real. Just like they call it a wet dream, and I done had a few of these, right? I be in jail, I go to sleep, right? I'm deprived, sexually deprived, man. But I love, getting up on, you know what I mean, and doing my thing with women, right? So when we be incarcerated, we be sexually deprived. So going on my second or third month, man, I have something called a wet dream, to where I'm asleep and I'm fantasizing it, and I'm dreaming of excuse me, I apologize, my daughter's here. I'm fantasizing and I'm believing that I'm making sweet passionate love to a woman, and when I wake up, my motherfucking boxers is wet. A wet dream. Nobody stroked me off when I was asleep. Nobody touched me when I was asleep, but my mind, in the way that it perceived whatever it perceived, it was so submerged in the experience to where it made me ejaculate in the real world. And you don't think that this realm of existence that we exist in can't be a simulation? I just think about it, cuz. And I know this ain't for everybody, homie, because this requires a different type of comprehension. This is different. But getting back, I want to hit all these points. Getting back, i.e. sickle cell disease, check. Miss 100 says, very interesting. Appreciate you. Miss 100 said, thank you for sharing this information with us. Appreciate you, Queen. Thank you for, coming on and supporting the platform. Mo's TV, it's my partner right there. Mo's TV says, I have had that same happen. Just come on, man. That's all I'm saying. Listen, homie. Word is bond. I done had dreams that somebody was blocker, hit me. And every time they hit me, man, I felt it. Like it seemed so real, homie, because the mind makes it real. But it wasn't real. So it shows that, yeah, there can potentially be some type of simulation that we exist in. And then we got to go into, do we actually have free will, or is life predestined? Because in a lot of scriptures and a lot of religions and whatnot, they say, for it is written, before you were physically born, I knew you in the womb of your mother. I knew you would do this. I knew you would do that. So is life predestined, or do we actually have free will? Or is it a gray area? I don't believe in gray areas. But for the sake of conversation, I theorize and I will make the inquiry. Is there a gray area to where predestination and free will coexist? Is life predestined? If life predestined, then that substantiates what I'm saying when I say that we can be in a simulation. And in the simulation that we call life, we are mere characters of some form of superior intelligence that has provided us with a role to play out. And all we're doing is playing out our role. If life is predestined, it was already destined at this second, minute, hour that we'll be having this conversation, that I'll be on here, you'll be listening, or you'll be typing. It was already predestined. So if life is predestined, we do nothing on our own accord. So if life is predestined, that means that it's already it was already arranged. It's a simulation. Just like in NBA 2K. If you don't want to play the season, you can put on simulation and it plays the game for you. You may win, you may lose, but you're actually playing, but you see the results of the game that was played. Simulation. Is life a simulation? But I digress. Could we be ignoring the inception of the new heaven and the new earth? What is the new heaven and what is the new earth? Let's get into it. Because this is real. This shit is really happening, homie. They put it in the form of movies. Man, I just went to watch that new Mission Impossible, and some of the content in that film, and that gave me chills, man. I had goosebumps. Like, damn, they putting this shit right in our faces. They're not even hiding it anymore. They're not even putting forth the effort to hide it. But why do we always have to be the individuals who catch up on things late? And when we catch up on it, it's too late. Just like I was talking about yesterday, if we know that the Trump administration, that the Republicans are moving towards defunding certain programs that our people sustain themselves through, then why not become proactive, and why not start these crowd funds and start putting money in a pot to where we can start buying our own land, creating our own farmland, creating our own irrigation systems, and creating our own agriculture? Why don't we become proactive and start doing this now? Why do we rely so heavily upon the government to when the government, bamboozle us and hit us out of nowhere with something, we like, oh, what am I gonna do? How am I pay my rent? How am I pay my car note? We're put here to be self-sufficient and independent beings. I want to go a little further, right? I'm gonna do some content on this a little later. We were made in the image of God, but initially, for whatever duration of time, we were meant to be basically subservient and super obedient to the point of being like robots, programmed to do, think, feel, and execute in a fashion that God instructed us to. But when Lucifer came into the midst of the garden and he brought knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, Lucifer, bearer of light, one who brings knowledge. And we are going to this, you know what, that'd be another segment to where we talk about the actual characteristics and the charges of Lucifer. I want to get into that, you know what I mean? Because they say that Lucifer, who's slightly different from the devil, when you talk about Lucifer, Lucifer divine or heavenly name was Samael, Samael, Samael. That was his name, right? Before he became Lucifer, bright and morning star, bearer of light, one who brings knowledge, so on and so forth. He had another divine name when he was at where he was at. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I want to show you something. I want to show you the new heaven and the new earth and where they're going. This is real, homie. This shit is happening. But in order for them to get there, it's a lot of people that must be unalive. It's a lot of us that have to go. Just like when you watch the movie The Avengers, when Thanos was about to destroy, or when Thanos destroyed half of the universe. It has to be a significant population reduction in order for them to implement and execute this type 1 civilization. But Bobby, yeah, what is this type 1 civilization that you're talking about, that you're equating to the new heaven and the new earth? Let's get into the content. This shit ain't for pretend. This shit is real. Let me see. All right, I think this one will be the first one that I want to lead with. It's a few of them, and I'm gonna play them.
The Kardashev scale says that there could be type 1, type 2, or type 3 civilizations. A type 1 civilization is meant.
Pause. Now it goes up to 7. Now these different civilizations goes up to 7, and they talk about the 7 forms of heaven, 7 heavens, 7 realms in the heaven, whatever. But now it went from being type 1 civilization, type 2, type 3, to where now they have 7 different types of civilization. But let's get into it.
Maybe 100 years more advanced than us, to maybe 1,000 years. They control the weather, volcanoes, earthquakes, anything planetary they control. That's type 1. Type 2 is stellar. They harness the power of an entire star, like Star Trek. Then there's type 3. Type 3 is galactic. They roam the galactic space lanes. They play with black holes. Space and time become your playground.
Basically, they're ascending to a position of God. Hold on, there's more. I want to get this one up out of here so that we can go to the next one. This isn't fictitious. This isn't fraudulent information. This isn't science fiction. This is the actuality of life that we're living in, and that's why they keep us distracted, because we can't see what's really going on beneath our nose. Love conquer all, and we can reverse all the shit. All we have to do is stop playing the motherfucking game. The power that they seek is within us. Why you think Why you think our peoples go missing and you don't see them or hear from them no more? Because they're in these scientific labs and they're doing human experiments on them. They're extracting DNA, they're extracting chemicals from them, they're extracting stem cells from them. You could be walking down the street and you may be a victim to this. But as long as we continue to be for one another and we continue to live in this in a fashion to where it's only pleasing to the flesh, we're going to continue to suffer. They build civilizations off of us. We build civilizations that they took from us and they control. Science come from us. Music come from us. But we don't control none of this shit. Because we be so fixated on hating one another and outdoing one another that they sit back and they allow us to destroy ourselves and they manipulate. They come in and they meddle in our affairs to intensify the hatred in the division in between us. But let's get back into it. I want y'all to understand what's going on, cuz.
We would have complete control over our
Hold
climate.
on.
This would include preventing now. What would happen if we skipped ahead and became a type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale? Well, right now we're only 0.73 on the Kardashev scale, which is a scale.
So when he talk about 0.73 on the Kardashev scale, that's 73% close to being able to have type 1 civilization. But they always give us information that's obsolete. They always give us information after they have already did it, accomplished it, and put it into practice. A big example of this that's going on right now, right, is that super volcano in the Pacific Ocean. That's a super volcano. It's massive. They're going to fuck with that. They're going to fuck with that because they're looking to conquer. They're looking to control it. They're trying to harness that energy from that super volcano for a reason. That super volcano is about to erupt because of man interference. Man going down there with these big ass bombs and exploding these bombs. Now it's about to have a disastrous effect. They say when a super volcano goes off, that is going to send 10,000 earthquakes off the West Coast. But they specifically said Los Angeles, San Francisco. They were specifically saying California. The West Coast is going to experience 10,000 earthquakes once this super volcano goes off. And if it's to the magnitude that they are aspiring for it to erupt, it's going to trigger another super volcano not that far from it in Yellowstone National Park. And if that super volcano goes off, biblical prophecies will begin to be fulfilled. Because we're going to get into this at a later time. But let's get back to this. Forgive me, man. I'll be so enthusiastic, man. I got so much passion. Like,
Used for ranking intelligent civilizations by their energy use. Now, a Type 1 is able to harness all the available energy of their home planet, which might include using earthquakes and tsunamis to produce energy for us, or even by building a...
When this volcano in the Pacific goes off, it's going to create a tsunami. I just told you it's going to create 10,000 earthquakes, and they're going to harness the energy from that to do what it is that I'm showing y'all that they about to do. Come on, man.
Swarm of solar panels to orbit around Earth and soak up all the sun's light. With all this energy,
do we not have Starlink? Do we not have these satellites that's already in orbit that's doing exactly what this individual is saying is going to be done for them to harness energy from the sun and various other places, various other stars, and send information, collect information, and monitor the universe? Let's get...
we would have complete control over our climate. This would include preventing natural disasters like hurricanes, or controlling rainfall to eliminate droughts. We would also have the ability to terraform parts of our planet, and we could support large-scale space missions which might even potentially include colonizing nearby planets and moons. But according to...
So if it is true, right? Now let's just say men are actually capable of getting past the firmament. If men really have the capacity to go to Mars and go to the moon, we know how they on Mars and the moon now. He just told you. Let's get back to it.
NASA, we won't reach Type 1 until 2371.
Lies. Lies like a motherfucker. Hold on, I got something else for y'all. So we got him. Let's get this about it. Got a couple of more. I want y'all to see what's really going on, man. Let me see, is this the one? We're gonna go with this one first.
All right, so the Kardashev scale is a measure of a civilization's current advancement. It typically ranges from type 1 to type 3, but we're going to see if we can bring that all the way up until 5. So a type 1 civilization would have 100% complete control over a planet's resources. This includes all energy on Earth, including renewable sources like wind, solar, water, as well as naturally...
Don't forget nuclear.
Oil. They would also have full control to be able to manipulate the planet's weather, being able to prevent things like global warming, natural disasters, and life-ending situations like a meteor hitting the Earth or something. They'd also be able to inhabit previously inhospitable areas of the planet, like the Arctic or Toronto during the winter, if you know what I mean. And lastly, a Type 1 civilization is able to communicate with and start gaining control over other bodies in our solar system, like the moon or Mars. So we already know what Elon Musk put in that work. According to experts, we're currently at about a Type 0.7 civilization, meaning we're 70% of the way there to a Type 1 civilization, but I think we got a lot more work to do than we think. And like for part 2, we'll go into a Type 2 civilization.
Got one more for you.
There's something called a Kardashev civilization, named for Nikolai Kardashev. You can think of levels of civilization based on how much energy they consume. And thus was born the Kardashev scale. A civilization that's level 1 has the power to harness the energy of its home planet. And that's extraordinary when you think about what that involves. On our home planet, there's the energy of volcanoes, of tornadoes, of hurricanes, and of earthquakes. If we could control all of that, that would be an extraordinary state of our civilization. So
Let me get this. We have people working on that stuff. We control nature. Oh, Gino. Oh, now you're come on, man. You was just in disagreement with me. You just came on here and called me a liar, so on and so forth. Now we have people working on that, stuff, and we know we can control nature. We know that human are in a position to where they can control the element. We know this, but it's a reason why they are able to control it, and it's a place that they're trying to go to and bring into existence. He say Gino's trolling, man. Gino's a weirdo. Let me read a few of these comments before I get up off here, man. All right, straight to the point. TV say I'm in a house. What's the dinner there? Trillionaire said, "What up, bro? Man, super cooler like a deep freezer, trying to stay chilly like a breeze, man." Trillionaire says, "Same, just chilling with the kiddos, man, for sure. I respect that, man. I respect any man that's committed to being a father to his children, man. That's 100." Trillionaire says, "WTF?" Laurel Garcia says, "Preach." Win Hub says, "Yes." Trillionaire said, "Let's get it." Gino Mercedes says, "He's lying." Hey, the fuck up out of here. Gino Mercedes says, "This guy is lying." Hey, the fuck out of here. Trillionaire says, "Telepathy." Gino Mercedes says, "Parents, just get your kids a private school education." Hey. Gino Mercedes says, "I'm Italian." Hey, all right, for sure. Trillionaire says, "Facts." Shorty McGriff, shout out to you. Says, "Just joining. Salute Bobby A. What up, chat?" Man, shout out to everybody that's on this live, man, that be tuning in time after time. I appreciate y'all continued support. Shorty McGriff said, "The sun does look different. I remember the 1980s, the sun used to shine bright and strong. 100, man, that sun is on its way to being a supernova. That's what it's called. Our sun in our galaxy, the center, the alleged center of our solar system, is on its way of becoming a supernova. You know the different forms and stages of a sun's life cycle. After it becomes a supernova, and it has been that for a certain amount of time, then it collapses. Gravity wins. It expands and pushes against gravity, and then gravity says, fuck you, and it creates a black hole. A black hole is a we'll get into that at a later time. Shorty McGriff said the other Caucasoids call Italians guineas. Yeah, that's true. Because they got black blood. Trillionaire says, laughing face. Frank Nitty, shout out to you, Frank Nitty. Frank Nitty says, salute. Shorty McGriff say, Frank Nitty, salute. Mo's TV Reloaded says, real talk. Johnny Big Tom Johnson says, I mean, it makes sense. Frank Nitty says, interesting. Frank Nitty says, facts. Miss 100 says, very interesting. Frank Nitty say, i.e. sickle cell disease, check. They got a cure for sickle cell disease. They got a cure for sickle cell disease. They got a cure for type 1 and type 2 diabetes. They got a cure for HIV, AIDS, herpes. They got a cure for all this. But like I say, man, in the Bible, it talks about it being famines and plagues. These pandemics, these epidemics and all that, that's part of the prophecy that's being fulfilled in the Bible, to where they're releasing these viruses to do what? I'll let you come to that conclusion. Mo's TV says Mo's TV says that has happened before. Frank Nitty said, you heard about the pre-crime ish they're trying to do? No, I got to look into that. Actually, when I get off of here now, I'm going to look into this pre-crime situation. But when you say pre-crime, it kind of puts me in the mind state to where they were trying to prosecute people by using certain algorithms and mechanisms to predict crime before it happened, and charging people with the crime that they didn't do. But being that you it was premeditated, being that you contemplated on doing it, we're gonna lock you up and we're gonna charge you, even though you didn't do it, but you thought about it. We intervene before you can execute it, and we're gonna lock your ass up. I don't know if that's the same thing that you're talking about, but I'm gonna look into that. Anthony Covington says, what's good, man? Life is good, man. This experience called life, no matter the highs nor the lows, man, being that we are here to experience this, man, especially in light of so many of our loved ones, our friends, our associates, our acquaintances, meet untimely demises through diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and all manner of ailments and whatnot, and not including, gun violence and everything else, man. It's a blessing to be here, man. Anthony Covington says, living in a matrix. Most definitely we're living in a matrix. Yeah. Frank Nitty says, facts. Roger Evans, spit that real talk. What's the dinner there, Raj, man? Hey, man, that dude, he's not biologically my uncle, man, but that's my uncle right there, man. That's my player partner, man. Going all the way back to Ironwood State Prison, man. He always been a solid dude, man. Every time we see each other, man, it's always an abundance of love. I love you, uncle. If I ain't ever told you before, I'm telling you now, man. I love you. Frank Nitty say predictive programming. Frank Nitty says exactly. Anthony Covington say get out of California while you can. Hey, homie, I had some business opportunities out there in California, but I'm ambivalent on whether or not I want to move back. I love to go back out there and try to broker some type of ceasefire or better understanding between rival gangs and show these youngsters that it's better ways to handling themselves and handling business outside of the streets. I love to go back and give back, but man, what's about to befall California, man? I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm not certain, man. Something in my spirit is telling me that it's time to start moving eastward. And I'm not talking about the East Coast. I'm just talking about everything that's going right to California. You know what I mean? It's time to start moving eastward, man. It's time to start moving back towards the Midwest, the East Coast, down south, possibly Texas, because when everything go all bad, man, we may have to get up out of here via those routes of Texas that leads into Mexico, so on and so forth, because shit is about to get crazy. Anthony Covington says this generation must not pass. We're going to have to talk more in depth about what you mean about that. Anthony Covington says Asgard. Asgard, yeah. Asgard is not the Romans, but the Vikings. I believe the Vikings. The Vikings, their religion, with Odin, Thor, so on and so forth. Asgard was their version of heaven. You feel what I'm saying? Anthony Covington says it's facts. Anthony Covington also say that's why it's important that we get back to the divine laws in order. We must. We got to get back to the divine laws and order and universal principles and whatnot, especially us as being a cosmic people. How we have all this amazingness about ourselves, but yet we're always subjugated to the rule and the leadership for those who are not properly equipped to lead. Like, this is crazy, and they wonder why our people is always underachieving, because, like Anthony Covington say, we have to get back to those divine laws and orders and universal and cosmic principles. We have to. And one of those is love. Let's start loving each other. Anthony Covington said, I heard about that. Anthony Covington also say building all these dams and levees. Yeah, they harnessing that energy. But the dams and levee, that's child's play. Now they're in a position to where they can harness the energy of nuclear fusion and nuclear fission. They're able to harness the energy of nuclear energy. And that's big, man. Listen, homie. China, as I have said before, created its own sun and put it into orbit. It orbited for about a few seconds, and then it died out. And this sun that China created, allegedly, was supposed to be 10 times hotter than the sun that we orbit around, or the sun that's a part of our solar system. Whether you believe Earth is flat and the sun is localized, whatever you believe. I believe the Earth is flat. I'm still doing research in regards to whether or not the sun is localized, and and whether or not the sun is as big as they say it is. Because, man, if the sun is that massive in comparison to Earth, and it only takes 365 days to rotate or revolve around it, we need to start exploring some other answers and whatnot, man, because the sun is massive in comparison to Earth. And it only takes 365 days for us to completely go around it. I don't know. But let's get back into it. Anthony Covington said, let those who have eyes see, and those who have ears hear. Man, this is the truth, homie. Trillionaire says, yep. Gino Mercedes says, we have people working on that stuff. We control nature. No shit, Sherlock. Like, we know this. Like, you know what I mean? Man is putting himself in position to be God. Man, the elite who follows the teachings of Lucifer. Now, whether you feel Lucifer is good or bad, that'll be a separate segment. I want to go into that. What y'all think? Is Lucifer good or is Lucifer bad? What do you feel Lucifer is? But it seems in this realm of existence, those who adhere to the teachings and the principles of Lucifer, they win it. They control the world. They control this realm of existence. And it seems like those of us who believe in the positive God, or this all-knowing, all-present, all-seeing God, we're faced with challenges and hardships. And I'm not saying stop believing in God. All I'm saying is open up your mind and use your mind if you have the mental strength, the mental fortitude to navigate through some of this shit. Because I'm going to tell you now, pursuing certain degrees of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, it'll make you insane. You'll go insane. You'll start vibrating on a different frequency. You won't be the same person that you used to be when you come into the acquisition of certain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And if you don't think you can work on the knowledge, don't pursue the knowledge, because knowledge is going to do one or two things. Well, you could do one or two things with knowledge. You either use the knowledge, apply the knowledge, share the knowledge, work on the knowledge, or the knowledge will start working on your motherfucking ass. Now you overthinking. Now you paranoid. Now you know what I mean? You didn't obtain too much information, and it's just stored in your mind, and you're not doing anything with it, and that can turn your ass insane. So be mindful of what you go out there looking for when you're on a pursuit of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Just want to share that with you. I done met people that obtain certain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, homie, in society consider them batshit crazy. It's just certain things in the mind has elevated and certain parts of the brain has opened to where they perceive life on a whole different level. But let's get back to it. Frank Nitty said, Gino, facts. Frank Nitty said, Gino trolling. Frank Nitty say, fact, cure for cancer, all that is a money. Yeah, it's a money thing, and it's about control too. A certain amount of people have to die per year. That's off top. Just like the police have a quota that they have to write a certain amount of tickets per year to get taxpayers' money, per month, per quota to get taxpayers' money to fund, the functionality of those cities and those departments and so on and so forth. A certain amount of people have to die per year. It's a quota. It's mandated. So cancer, AIDS, and all these other illnesses and whatnot that a lot of our peoples are, passing away from. You know why? Johnny Big Tom Johnson says, word. Johnny Big Tom Johnson says, oh yeah, I heard about that pre-crime madness. Johnny Big Tom Johnson say it might be that one story on the news about some technology in a store that supposedly can predict if a person is going to shoplift before they engage in such activities. Hey, listen, homie, that's fucked up, right? I'm going to Walmart. I went to Walmart. I didn't get a basket because I'm only getting a few items. Boom, 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 getting a few items. The items that I got, it was too much for me to carry. I got additional items. Instead of me putting it down or walking towards the store with the items, they think I'm stealing and, dispatch security, and now there's a big situation or whatnot. Some of the items I put in my pocket until I got to the register. Now with this pre-crime shit, as I read it by what Johnny is saying, technically I could have went to jail for stealing, even though I had no intentions on stealing. I just had to put some of the shit in my pocket so I can get up front to self-checkout, scan my items, took them out. Then I took them out of my pocket and I scanned them, paid for my goods, and I got a loan. But if they have something that Brother Johnny, shout out to Brother Johnny, is saying, it might be that one story on the news about some technology in a store that supposedly can predict if a person is going to shoplift before they engage in such activity. If that's what that is, man, I could have been guilty as charged, homie, even though I had no intentions on stealing. But I don't think that'd be a good mechanism to use to predict if a person is going to steal or not. Because if they would have seen me on camera or they would have used this technology and they see me stuff this stuff in my pocket off top, they would have accused me of stealing. So I don't think that's a good mechanism. And us as a people, we have to fight and we have to resist that version of the machine. Johnny Big Tom Johnson says, Arizona too hot, man. Arizona too hot, man. Look, check this out. Oh, my mama, man. It's on Steve-O. Listen to me. Last year, it was a record temperature was set here in Nevada, Las Vegas. That's where I reside at, right, as of right now. My phone said that it was 105 degrees. My baby mama phone said that it was 103 degrees. On the news, they said it was 120 motherfucking degrees. So the way that they record the temperature when it gets so hot is flawed. Oh, my mama, man, I done went outside and like, God damn, it's hot. Man, it's too motherfucking hot. Man, it feel like it's about 130, 140. We know that the way that they're recording it and the way that they are doing whatever they do with it, that is flawed, because my phone said 105, hers said 103, but that same day, the day that the record temperature was recorded in Nevada, it said 120. So it's a flawed system. So it could have potentially been hotter than 120, but so that they don't create mass hysteria, so that they don't create something that people be like, man, fuck that, what's going on? And people protesting and looking for answers and whatnot. I feel like they manipulate the numbers that they give us, man, because some of these days, homie, you can feel that it's hotter than what they say that it is, man. Word is bond, but let's get back. Johnny Big Tom Johnson said, Midwest weather too wild, tornadoes and all that. China has its own sun. Damn, that's hard. Yeah. No. No longer. China created China created an artificial sun, and you can look this up. You can Google it. China created an artificial sun, and they orbited. It went into orbit. It didn't go past the firmament and none of that. It's just orbited within, the sphere, right? The sphere that we call Earth, right? It orbited, and within a few seconds, it was extinguished. But the same way that the United States of America is over there in Switzerland creating these portals and creating these black holes and all this type of shit by taking atoms that they extracted from carbonated melanated people, and they got this what they call that thing? It's like it's a circular thing that goes on for miles and miles. And what they do, they electrically charge these atoms that they extract from melanated carbonated people, and they clash them into each other at the speed of light. And when these atoms clash into each other, it creates what's similar to a black hole. This is, man, look this shit up, man. This shit is real. Trillionaire says, me too. Trillionaire says, I'm a flat earther. Yeah, me too, man. We don't live on a motherfucking ball. Earth always finds it always levels out, man. It's no way scientifically possible that Earth can, that water finds its level. It's no way scientifically possible that water can curve and like, no, water doesn't do that, man. Water doesn't do that, especially not in this realm of existence. Check it out. TV says they pray to the 666. It's all backwards. I mean, I got my theories about the 666. You know what I mean? That it is the genetic composition of a black individual, or the original individuals that was planted here on this earth. You feel what I'm saying? But you know, they always take it and they flip it and make 666 to be something entirely different than what it is, so that we as a people don't gravitate towards it, don't explore it, and don't research it. Why do you think they don't allow black people or melanated carbonated peoples to get into certain type of science fields, which is a major disservice to humanity? The sold y'all, or he said, check it out, TV say they sold y'all a lie. Wallahi, down the rabbit hole. Johnny Big Tom Johnson says, at this point, I don't get how people still see the earth as flat, but I will say folks need to do hard and intricate research into how they can come to such conclusions, as well as look for. I agree with you. And I'm not opposed to us having think tanks and respectfully and cordially having these type of discussions. Whether you feel that the earth is actually a ball and I feel that the earth is actually flat with an ice wall around it that contains the waters of the earth, I mean, we should be able to explore this, homie. Because once we explore that, guess what we're going to do now? Is the sun really centralized? Is the moon really centralized? Or is it really a million miles away? You feel what I'm saying? Us having these type of discussions lead to us having additional discussions about things that we should be discussing. We should be having discussions about healthcare. We should be having discussions about politics, and us having representation at these tables, real representation of individuals who are going to represent the people in its entirety, and not take pay cuts and not necessarily, forgive me, not pay cuts, not take payoffs to minimize the plight of us. We need representation. We don't have proper representation. We should be training some of our kids to go into these various fields of science so that we can start getting cures and we can start getting answers to these things that has been plaguing our community for far too long. Johnny Big Tom Johnson said aspects into what the actual factors are on the topic. All right, here we go. We got that one guy. I know the one guy, forgive me, y'all. The one guy's sometimes cool, but this motherfucker always comes with some crazy ass shit. So let's get into it. That one guy, what's the deal? What's the deal, my player partner? The one guy say, our sun is nowhere near close to being a supernova. It's just as bright because of the chemical our government releases into the atmosphere that reflects light back into space. Study the chemtrails. I'm partly aware of the chemtrails, but give me proof that our sun is nowhere near close to becoming a supernova. Present your proof, your physical proof. That's what I want you to do. That one guy. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. In the Bible, let's get to the Bible. In the Bible, it says that the Most High, for those of you who may be religious and subscribe to religious beliefs and thoughts and whatnot, in the Bible, in the book of Revelations, the Most High of the Bible says that it would give power to an angel to intensify the heat of the sun, and it gets so hot in this realm of existence called earth that men are blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. So even in the Bible, if we're going off the Bible, it shows that something is going to happen to the earth. Something is going to happen to the sun, to where the sun is going to get so hot that man to say disrespectful things against the Holy Spirit, against God. They made a movie. They always put it in the form of a movie. They made a movie called The Core. And the sun was either incrementally getting bigger or gradually getting closer to Earth. And it was getting so hot on the surface of the Earth that man had to drill into the core of the Earth to seek refuge from the sun. So something going on with that motherfucking celestial body. Whether it's becoming a supernova or whether it's getting closer, something is actively going on with the change. Something is actively going on with the sun, and the sun is changing. That is there, that one guy. How you going to come back? I'm looking for your comeback. Trillionaire says, facts. I'm out there in Vegas too. On the real, man, homie. One day I opened my door. Boom, I opened it. Whoo, man. And when I opened the door, man, word is bond. I BS you not. It feels like, you know how when you baking something and you open that oven door and that gush of hot wind hit you like boom, like, oh, man, I got to reconsider going out and, handling my business. Like, man, shit, it's hot as a motherfucker out there. Soon as you hit the door, it hit you. Boom. Soon as you open the door, the shit hit you. My player partner, Frank Nitty, say CERN. Yep, CERN is real. CERN is real. And what's the things that they got up there in Alaska? Going by the HARP. CERN is real. HARP is real. They just created another HARP station for weather manipulation and energy collection and all that, harnessing energy, harnessing energy and all this. Man, this shit is real. I'm gonna read a few more comments and I'm gonna get up off this thing. Johnny Big Tom Johnson says they said it was near 120 in Pasadena 5 years ago. If not 120, the air was breathing was how. The air I was breathing was how could I imagine that Furnace Creek be like? Man. Drew V said LHC. I don't know. Oh, Large Hadron Collider. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is over there in Switzerland. Yeah, I appreciate that. Drew V. Check it out. TV says facts. Trillionaire said, I feel the moon was placed where it's at right now. That's a possibility. And that's something that we should start exploring and having conversations about. We got to start challenging everything that they taught us. We got to start second guessing everything and collectively coming together and arriving at our own conclusion to the problems that we have questions about. We got to stop allowing them to condition us and manipulate us to think, feel, and perceive life from a perspective of them, because we already, you got to forgive me, man. I don't want to. Frank Nitty says 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, the true 6 protons, referring to carbon, which we are carbon beings. This is the truth. Devil, evil with a D in the beginning. But from my studies, Satan, Lucifer, and the devil is 3 different beings, 3 different entities. They just call Lucifer Satan and the devil, which were just they weren't really names, they were adjectives. The devil, Satan, those were really adjectives. Lucifer is the actual name, bearer of light, one who brings knowledge. But we can explore that at a later time, you know what I mean? But I feel like this is some content that we really should be getting into. Yes, you're right. We need senators in the government speaking solely for us as black people in America. This is the truth. Why the fuck is we paying taxes if we're going off their narrative and we were stole from Africa and brought here against our own will? Why are we paying taxes? Or if we're going off the narrative that some of us are native here, why don't we have rights to the land that we come from? I told y'all before, my people come from Mississippi, Oklahoma, then came through Texas, Arkansas, then came out west, right? But my great grandmother was born on an Indian reservation. And when I researched my lineage from my father's side, we're Choctaw Native, we're Choctaw Indians. And they say, how the hell is you a goddamn Choctaw? And Choctaws is, you ain't never heard of the $5 Indian, to where they was allocating land and the white peoples came and they did to us what Isaac did to Jacob. I think it was Isaac and Jacob, or was it Jacob and Esau? Whichever brother went and stole the birthright, they stole our birthrights. They changed our name. They changed our name in it because they wanted to eliminate and erase any connection that we had to the land. So we need representation to go and talk about this. So if we are native, right? If we are indeed native to this land, we need our land back. If we were brought here and put into captivity against our will, we need reparations. We need to be paid. They gave everybody else reparation. They gave the Germans reparation. They gave the Japanese reparation. They still giving reparation to the Jewish people in America. Isn't the people that put them in captivity and did those atrocious things to them, but they giving them reparation. Everybody get reparations but us. It's all good. Basically, devil is an evil DICK, LOL. Shorty McGriff, exactly. Operation Popeye. Operation Popeye, what you mean? I don't know what's going on. So I'm gonna stay away from that one because Popeye, my partner. That's my little partner. Lost Coast TV said high frequency active Aurora research project. Facts. We need to stop going on their fake narratives. This is facts. Hey man, I appreciate all these amazing comments and all that. But I gotta get up off this thing, man. I got some BI I gotta handle, man. I gotta go to the grocery store, get my daughter some stuff for dinner. What time is it? Damn, it's 2:56. God damn. Hey, y'all step and be blessed, man. If ain't nobody told y'all today, God bless y'all. I love y'all. Thank you for rocking with your player partner, man. Let's do what it is that we need to do to bring some much needed changes to our ranks, our communities, and our family unit, man. The biggest thing I want to meticulously pick my words because y'all know they watching me. You know what I mean? Like it's so much that I can share, but I'm not at this moment. Y'all step and be blessed, man. Too black, too strong. All power to all people. The people that's inflected, the people that's subjugated. You know what I mean? All power to the people, man. It's really not about race. A lot of people's try to define me as being a racist. No, I'm not a racist. It's just my people are the most inflicted, the most subjugated, and the most oppressed. So my mission is to resurrect the black community. My thing is to inspire my people to unify so that we can be functioning like other ethnic groups and nationalities and whatnot. And you know, we can be a better people. But the things that really matter in life, they transcend race, religion, and all this other shit that they categorizes and classify and put us in. You feel what I'm saying? The things that really matter in life, it transcends race, religion, ethnic groups, and all that type of shit. You feel me? But y'all still be blessed, man. God bless y'all. I love y'all. Let's live in peace before we be forced to rest in it, man. And with that, that's my time, and I'm gone.